Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Matt. We got a special episode for you here today. Very excited and honored to have my good friend Aaron here.
How's it going, everybody?
You may know him from his own YouTube channel. You want to tell him what it is?
Yep, Maple Collector on YouTube.
Yeah, he's
Check it
got
out.
great garden walkthroughs of your own place. You talk a lot about some comparison of different plants. And
Yeah, go over a lot of newer things, at least newer to me. Stuff that's a little harder to find sometimes, a little rare stuff. A lot of stuff I got from Matt and Tim here.
So we're getting into our top 5. You know how this goes. We love to ask everybody their top 5 maples. Now, is it the top 5 or the top 5 for the day?
Top 5 for the day.
Yeah,
I don't really have a top 5. Honestly, I love most of them, so, you know.
All right, let's get into it. Let's see what Aaron Dragseth's top 5 is. Number 5.
Number 5. I had to put a species maple on there, so because I really love species maples, especially from section Palmata. Let's go with Acer Robustum.
Oh, great choice. Yeah, you know I'm a huge fan of that one. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. Probably works really well in your heat as well.
It works great. Give it a little sun and it actually has multiple colors on it for me. It gets red, yellow, green, put it in the shade. It's a nice green, has beautiful fall colors. Really hardy. I don't see any burn on it ever on any of the leaves. It's a nice plant.
No, I know, but what area are you gardening in?
I'm zone 10A,
Yeah, you're in California there.
California.
But you're getting pretty cool. Now, you're the example I always use for why our 5 through 9 doesn't exactly work perfect.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it doesn't really get that hot where I live. We're by the Pacific Ocean, so that seems to cool things off. And even in the winter time, it doesn't get that cold. So we're pretty mild all the way through the year. Number 4.
all right, let's do another one. Number 4.
Number 4, Japonica Gasa. I think I said that right. Acer Robustum. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Japonica Gasa. It looks like a Japonicum, and it may be a Japonicum.
Yeah. We're finding out possibly that Sue Eager podcast. She talks about how those two things can cross a good bit too.
So yeah, to me it looks like more like a Japonicum, but it's very unique. Its leaf shape, a beautiful plant.
Has some of that pubescence of Seaboldianum too, so you kind of think maybe there's some of that in there. This one was one, we did this thing with the National Arboretum a few years ago, and it was wild collected by Dr. Kerr. They had it there in the National Arboretum collection, and we approached them about some of the cool things that were in their collection that have kind of gotten lost in the trade. And so this was like a standout to me. I was like, this looks crazy. And I'm already a sucker for big leaves, so I've got to get this thing. It definitely has some Seaboldianum influence on it to have that kind of, fibrous look to it.
Yeah.
Maybe some hybridization going on with Japonicum. Really cool plant either way. Great fall colors. Do you get much fall color where you're at on it?
I haven't yet because it's in a container and my seasons are so long. But it has gotten to the size this year where I think it might last long enough to actually get the fall color.
Yeah. Do you get much fall color in where you're at generally?
You know what? I do on trees in the ground and some of my older stuff, but my younger stuff, I usually don't get a whole lot of color.
How big are the leaves getting on that one for you at this point?
Oh, I have, Japonicum sized leaves.
Right.
I huge ones.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. I like that it's something a little more outside the box. Like I'm always looking for expansion into Japonicum. And that's what got me so excited during that Sue Eager one. I'm like, let's get some of these Seaboldianum traits in there. We can go from there into all kinds of crazy categories. But
when I first got it, I saw it was a Seaboldianum, and I'd never seen a Seaboldianum with that size leaves before, so that's why I grabbed it. And, yeah.
Typically here we're getting some really bold reds, sometimes orange, but typically really, really intense red on that one. So really nice.
Look forward to it.
3. All right, number 3, what you got?
Number 3 is Acer Shirasawanum hybrid Johin.
Oh, good choices. Good choice.
I love the color changes on that one. And spring comes out kind of a dark burgundy red, and then very quickly lightens up and gets these green veining through it. It's a really pretty tree.
It gets a nice bark to it too. Some of those Shirasawanums, as they age, you almost get like this. It's not a pine bark, but like almost like a fissured, like a older serrated look to it. Like I like the gray they get. It's just a little different.
It's really nice tree.
Johin just goes through so many color changes too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tree. It kind of I do get some fall color on that one. It's kind of mostly yellow with a little bit of orange in it. It's a really nice tree, and it holds its, I mean, it stays a nice color pretty much the entire season. Maybe late summer it kind of greens out a little bit, but then quickly it turns into that yellow and orange color in the fall.
Excellent choice, excellent choice. All right, we're getting into the nitty gritty. Number 2, what do you got?
2. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Acer Palmatum Allen's Gold.
Ooh.
One of the, Matt and Tim have highlighted the fact that it's it leafs out orange, and it's a pine bark maple as it ages. I think it takes a while for the bark to come out and actually get the pine bark on it. But one feature that I really like about it that I haven't really heard anybody talk about is before it becomes a pine bark, it's actually like a coral bark. It actually has red bark. It's a darker red, but it's actually red, like a red bark. It's a really, really cool, different tree. Unique
shades on that for sure. I mean, even in like, I've had kind of yellowish red. I've had a lot of different weirdness going on in the bark. It's something that changes so much. You know, it wasn't selected even for being a pine bark. Like I told him at lunch, we ate barbecue, so we're probably sleepier than normal doing one of these, but we just went to lunch and grabbed some barbecue. But I was telling him at lunch, like, a friend of mine named this one, and he said, like, I picked it for the color. I didn't pick it for being a pine bark. Well, I went out and looked at a 10-gallon. I'm like, this thing has tons of bark in it. And looking at the original, it definitely does that. And that does take a little bit longer than like Arakawa to bark up, but like, what a cool variation on a, you know, something different already on a spring interest color.
Great tree, very different, and one of the best spring oranges for sure. I mean, it's amazing orange and yellow color in spring.
Number
one.
All right, number 1.
Okay, number 1. This one I've had for a few years now, and it's got some amazing color changes. Acer Palmatum Noel.
Oh. Good choice, yeah.
It comes out it's a sport off of Shinda Shoujo, right? So it's just a sport off of Shinda Shoujo, and it comes out basically almost the same color as Shinda Shoujo, just a bright red, but then it transitions over to this almost fuchsia pink color for me anyway. And then it starts getting the variegation in it, which is kind of like an Orita no Nishiki type variegation. And even after that, it holds that for quite a while, and then it turns into like a softer, lighter pink with green on it, and that continues pretty much clear through summer. And maybe I think probably the hotter weather you get, that white may turn in, or the pink may turn into white. But for me, it's pink all year round.
Yeah, it's almost like you took like Shinda Shoujo and then put like an Orita no Nishiki splash into it. Sometimes with those sickles too. So kind of a funny little backstory on that one. It was named by my good friend at O'Brien Nursery, John O'Brien. It was named for his dog, Noel. He had the original sport there at his nursery in Connecticut. And I would go visit Dennis Dodge, and Dennis was this interesting guy. He had a nursery there in Bethlehem, Connecticut. And Dennis would know where everything was at all over the world, but he never left his house. Like, I think one time we talked him into coming down to Ed Shin's, but he never left his house. But the guy would show me pictures on the internet of plants that I didn't know I'd shared on the internet before. But he kind of played hot and fast with the idea that Noel came from Japan. And so I was pretty excited when I found it at his next door neighbor's place just down the road at O'Brien Nursery. It was kind of funny. I'd go visit Dennis, and you wouldn't really ask for anything, but you'd leave with something cool. So you didn't get what you wanted, but you got something neat, so you didn't complain. But that was always my fun memory of that, was first seeing it at his place and thinking, this is nuts. And then finally finding out like it wasn't that far away. But
one thing, if people have seen the cultivar Beni Casote, as it's pronounced, comes out like really bright pink, but it's very difficult to keep alive. It's one of those very touchy cultivars. Shinda Shoujo, I mean, Noel rivals that. I mean, for color. I think
so too, with a lot more durability. I love Beni Casote, but man, it is.
Yeah.
If it wasn't such a wimp, I'd do a million of them.
Yeah.
So, man, I really appreciate you coming in today. I know your son's playing in Myrtle Beach, and you took the time to drive over here to visit us.
Had to come out.
Tell them again about your channel so they can find you on there and sub.
It's called Maple Collector. So
you've probably already found us. He's been doing this a minute too. How long have you been collecting Japanese maples for?
At least 15 years, maybe a little longer than that. Maybe 17 years, somewhere around there.
His walkthroughs of his container garden are epic. You got to go check those out. I know you've got some high view videos with just crazy stuff. I mean, you're always asking me for the cutting edge stuff. So he's in there on the
I'm into
weird and
rare
unusual
stuff.
things.
I like the rare stuff, the unusual stuff. So
I appreciate you taking the time to drive up here to the mountains. Hopefully we had a little bit of energy. I know we've been eating some barbecue at dinner, so I'm like,
thank you.
I'm ready for that late barbecue nap. But
that's good stuff.
definitely check out Maple Collector. We appreciate you tuning in today to the Mr. Maple Show. Take care, God bless, and have a great day.